What's up, everybody? It's been a little bit since I've posted a daily drive. I guess I just, failed for a little bit on that consistency thing. Kind of want to break down, I guess, what that is like mentally, because I think a lot of people out there don't understand it, maybe. So for myself, I'm like, you know what? It's 365 days a year, 52 weeks a year. I'm gonna go to work every week. I might get a 1 or 2 week vacation, but like I should be able to make a couple hundred videos in a year, and that should display relative consistency. Like that's like big picture. And then in my head though, I'm like, 4 or 5 videos a week, depending on if I go to work 5 days a week or 4. Like, gotta stick with it. Blah blah blah. Like that just seems so simple. But when I come off of the weekend and I'm back into Monday, I'm either excited and ready to go ahead and put the camera up there and start recording, or it's like almost this thing that I feel a little bit of dread for, that I feel as if it's forced. So if my boss tells me like, hey, we're all gonna build some team camaraderie and we're all gonna go out to Top Golf, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna go, and he's like, no, you have to go. Like at that point, then we're not building any team camaraderie. This is just something I'm forced into, and I don't like it. I don't like to feel like my own free will of choice was taken, right? Kind of applies to this, and in my head where I make this agreement with myself that like I'm going to remain consistent, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to stick with it. And then that Monday rolls around where I don't know if I either don't have anything to talk about. It doesn't even have to be a Monday. It could be tomorrow, like today's Sunday. It could be Monday. It could be Wednesday this week. But this person is bumping next to me. Anyways. But that day will come where I don't want to do it and it just feels forced. And then once it feels forced, I don't want to do it anymore. And then that day, in that moment, I'll make that choice to not do it. But the problem becomes that I then have let myself down on the commitment that I've made to myself. So then I'm like, my self-talk is like, oh man, you're such a bum. You're so late. Like you can't even just like take the time to talk about some things and record a video. And it's just this whirlwind of like, I don't want to call it a whirlwind, it's just this mixture of all the emotions and the thought processes that go on in my head. So then like on day 2, like I've already convinced myself that I'm lazy and I'm not committed and I'm not consistent, so like I'm not going to get this done. This is not going to be a stupid YouTube channel. Why'd you even start one? And that all happens so fast in my brain. And then there's like that part of me that wants to persevere. So that part of me is like, you know what, man, slap that video back up there, slap that camera back up there, and keep doing this. Because even if it started out as I just want to quit nicotine, and I'm working on that, right? Like I still consider myself fully addicted, because right now I would love to rip a breeze. So the idea of like getting that hit of nicotine and that buzz and that body and that rush or whatever, like that feeling still sounds great. So, but gotta stick with making the videos, gotta stick with making the content. So here we are. And I just wanted to kind of talk about what that's like for people, because some people out there, you might struggle with understanding why somebody else in your life can't be consistent. They do something for a week or 2 and they're doing really great, and then they stop and they suck at it. And it's because there's 300 books out there about whatever habits you want to build and how to build them, but at the end of the day, everybody's brain doesn't work the same. We're all so wildly unique. So like building a habit could be a tried and true method that works for 99% of people, but there's always that 1%. And it's not easy. It's not easy to make change in your life happen, right? Especially if, a lot of your beliefs and your convictions have led you to this point. And you got to really start to like think like, man, like I really thought if I did all this and I did it all this way, that I'd be in a better position than I am. So like it's easy to point fingers and place blame, but typically it's all about ownership. And then you got to think like, man, well, like what led me to here? Why am I not somewhere else? Is it my like the path that I chose? Like I made that choice, and like is it the way that I was like brought up believing that this would make it so that this was possible, but really those aren't the right steps, and that taking those steps in that direction isn't going to get me to where I actually want to be. I have this delusional belief in how I get from A to B because maybe somebody else did it and they actually just got lucky, or maybe somebody else did it but the means and the method in which they got to where they want to be, like, that's just not the same in this day and age, right? Like, you're not going to get to success the same way your grandpa got to success. Like, you'll be lucky if you got to success the same way your parents got to success, if either one of you's even reached whatever level of attainment you consider successful. But I don't know. Just want to make some daily drives, make some videos, talk about things that are, I guess, important to me. The other day I was talking to my guy Dane, my boy. I miss him very much. And we're talking about how, just miss seeing each other at work. It's been a year since we worked together now, and it sucks. You make a great friend and you only know each other for so long, and then you gotta part ways again or whatever. And it's just like, the unfortunate events that occur in life sometimes. But I was talking to him about how, like, it's like, I don't know, I was like, just make sure that you are appreciating and, like, open to, like, appreciating the moments that are so mundane. Because, like, it's not until life is not mundane that you wish you could go back to when it was just boring. Like, yeah, a boring birthday dinner celebration with your family, or going out to some restaurant you don't want to be at, or whatever it may be, might sound like, man, such a waste of my time. But, like, when you're going out with your mom and your dad and your grandma and grandpa, and maybe your aunts and uncles or whoever, and there's a bunch of you going out, all your friends or whatever, and when you're thinking about how, like, man, I didn't want to go out for Kyle's birthday or whoever's birthday it might be. I don't want to go out for Chad's birthday or whoever it is, right? But, like, when that person or somebody in that friend group that you're always going out with, maybe gets diagnosed with something, or just has to move away for their own career, or their own loved one or spouse, or maybe something just happens to their kids or your kid or whatever, like, point being, something will occur later in life that will make you look back and say, like, man, I wish I could just go back to when life was simple and we were all just hanging out around the dining room table, or we were all just hanging out at Longhorn Steakhouse or wherever you and your family go. So it's hard. Like, it takes a lot of mental, I don't want to call it mastery. I don't think I'm like some mental master, brain guru, whatever. But it takes a lot of self-awareness, and it takes practice, and just in knowing that, like, I have to recognize what's important to me. And then when life is good, I need to be thankful that life is good, because, like, life's always going to be bad at some point. There's always going to come that time when life is not what you want it to be. Come that time when tragedy strikes. It's inevitable. Like, everybody's gonna die, everybody you love is gonna die, you're gonna die. And if you're really, really fortunate, like myself, you make it to 30 and you have your grandparents still, and you have your parents still, and you have your brother, and you haven't had to deal with, like, a really, really close personal family loss. But, like, I'm aware that day is coming. It could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be me. If it's me, I guess I don't have to deal with the tragedy of it and the depression. It's just not dead. But I'm always aware of that idea that all of this is very fleeting. All of this is very fragile. It won't be long, and you'll be like, man, I wish I could go back to those days when life was boring. And it's not like I look back on my whole life with just like, oh man, I wish I could go back in time, like with some sort of regret or something. But, like, there have been moments in my life where I've like, man, I wish I could go back to the simplicity of my old job, or I wish I could go back to the simplicity of my previous job, when I was really just doing nothing, getting paid to really just be manual labor. But I don't know. It's NFL Sunday, right? Football, fall, cool weather. It's only 57 degrees out right now, so we're going to the pumpkin patch today. I don't even know who the Steelers play this week, and I guess I don't know if I care, because when you don't have a franchise quarterback, I don't think that you should be that heavily invested in your team. I think that realistically, I don't know. I genuinely, wholeheartedly do not know how fans of really bad, consistently bad teams make it through. Like if you're a Lions fan, you had Stafford, so you had this franchise quarterback, and you had Calvin Johnson, so you had like this little bit of hope. You had this real talent between those two guys, and if you could just piece together a few pieces around them and string out a playoff win, like that's a whole new stratosphere for that franchise, right? But I don't know how you do it, because like for me as a Steelers fan post 2016, 2017, we ain't winning. I know the roster, I know that team. I know the roster and I know that team, and I know that if I'm not playing with them, like if right now, if I had to go against the 20 best Madden players in the world, and we all get to pick a team for the next season, and I happen to get the first pick, it doesn't matter to me that I love my Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm not fucking picking them. Sorry, probably not supposed to swear. But I'm not picking them as my team to control for this season or for a dynasty or franchise, whatever, because they don't have the talent to win me a Super Bowl, win me games. So, but my point is, like, if you're the Broncos before you had Russell Wilson and you're just trotting out Drew Lock, or if you're us right now trotting out Mitch Trubisky, like, what do you watch the game for? What are you watching this whole season for? Like, oh man, I'm gonna watch the running backs really develop, and I'm gonna watch the receivers get better at running their routes. I'll watch some of these young guys in this defense develop and see who's gonna be our core as we look to become a Super Bowl threat in the future. But like, that all sounds terrible. I want to watch us win, and that's it. So like, if you have Mitch Trubisky and you don't have the 2008, 2009 Steelers defense with multiple defensive player of the years on it, you don't have an old school Ravens defense where you can win a Super Bowl with a mediocre quarterback. So I don't know how fans do it and support teams, and like what you're watching. Like, I don't want to go watch Mitch Trubisky play football. I don't, so I'm not going to watch. Like, it's just not going to happen. Now, if Kenny Pickett gets out there and is exciting, people are talking about how exciting he is on sports radio and things like that, I'll start tuning into Steelers games again. But I got no interest in watching those bums. You let Ben Roethlisberger drag this franchise through the last 5 years, and we all knew that you weren't winning a Super Bowl. Like, being just completely realistic and logical and looking at the pieces that you've had and have, you're not winning the Super Bowl. So, you ain't winning one this year. And like, so like, this year, if you're a, see, like, okay, my favorite, like a good example from this year, like a team that's not doing great, is the Bengals. But you have a franchise quarterback and an absolutely electrifying receiver. So, that means that you have hope. You can actually score points and move the ball and do exciting things in a very quick flash in the pan, right? Like it is fast when you're thinking about, like, oh man, one TD bomb to Jamar Chase in the entire game in its complexion, and I guess, I don't know, complexion is probably not the right word, but anyways, the entire look and feel of this game can change like that. But like, if Najee Harris is the Steelers' best offensive weapon, which I'm going to say that he is, like, yeah, I guess that like a running back has somewhat the same ability to snap off like a game-changing run or whatever, but it's just not the same. Like, you throw the ball in the air and it's just a bomb. Jamar Chase is running downfield and he catches it and he goes running in the end zone. Don't get me wrong, like a really long run, by the end of it the crowd's going crazy and everything, but like, just I feel like it's less likely. Statistically, passing is what the NFL's all about right now, and I'm not super big on statistics. I believe more in the eye test than anything, but like, statistically speaking, I have to assume that the odds of you running, well, I should say of Najee Harris running a 50-plus yard run for a touchdown versus Jamar Chase catching a 50-plus yard touchdown, like, the odds have to be way in Jamar Chase's favor there. And especially when your quarterback's Mitch Trubisky or Kenny Pickett or whoever the heck else, Mason Rudolph, and they're all mediocre at best. So, like, that defense isn't afraid. They're more worried about Najee running for 50-plus than that guy ever throwing a bomb to Pickens or Deontay Johnson or whoever else they got out there. So, man, this sun really sucks. I gotta kind of keep my arm like this to keep the camera cool. Keep the focus all right with the light that's coming in. guess that's what happens when you leave work at 10 o'clock on a Sunday. But like, it's like if nobody, as long as nothing bad happens at work in the next 4 or 5 hours, then I would have been there for absolutely no reason, because like the spreadsheet that I want to work on today and the numbers that I need to gather for Monday and Tuesday, like all that stuff, like I can do that from home. I can do that with my kids sitting next to me watching some Disney. So why wouldn't I? Now I know a lot of people out there will say that, you know, like I couldn't work from home, I'd be too distracted or whatever. I was in the beginning. It was not easy, still not great at it. I'm not like some super proficient work from home person who's got this little desk set up and treats it like they're clocking in and clocking out of their office. Like, no, I get distracted and I get in the middle of something and then I gotta walk away and I come back. It could be 2 hours later, but I still get the same amount of work done just at home instead of sitting in an office. And it doesn't matter if I stretch out the time, because for the most part my work isn't ever measured in like this needs to be in by 5 p.m. and like you're working on it that day. Like it's like this long accumulation of a project type. That's what I would call the structure of it. It's more like working on a really, really long project. But I don't know. I do like listening to the good old local Detroit sports radio on Sundays, though, and just hearing what these guys have to say, their picks for the day and all that stuff. So I'm looking forward to that for the rest of my drive. And I guess, I don't know if I got any advice for anybody out there. Just stay safe, you know. Just the other day, saw an accident, and it was just like, all this guy had to do was probably like look an extra time. Like I don't know how he didn't see the car that he was about to like cut off or whatever. But then he was going to his left, so it's like driver's side. So like really, if you just turn your head far enough, you should be able to see that car there. If you're using your mirrors and turning your head, no reason. But this guy just went right to his left, right into this car. You're just like, man, how do you not know they're there? And it's because you're so distracted. And it's like, I guess I'm a hypocrite. I don't have my seatbelt on right now, and I'm making a video while I'm driving. I don't know. But I guess I'll just say that I always try to keep that 3-second rule on the car in front of me. Try not to ride their butt. Try to make sure I got time to brake, because maybe they don't have time to brake. Maybe they're on the rear end of the car in front of them. They're just riding their butt. But so, you know, you try to keep that 3 seconds. You know, pick an object, time it out. I try to stay safe. Try not to speed too much. 7 over the speed limit on the expressway is about the most I do. Sometimes I like to go 80, just because when I was out in Utah, the speed limit was 80, and there's just something about setting my cruise at 80 just feels good. But you know, lately I've been doing about 77. If I'm in like I gotta get to work and I'm kind of in a hurry mode. Otherwise, I just slap it into whatever the speed limit is, put it on cruise control, and go. But I don't know. Stay safe out there. Drink enough water. Stay hydrated. All that other good stuff, right? I got my water. I think I filled this up. That was my third fill up when I was getting ready to leave work, so fill it up a few times. I've had a lot of water this morning. Trying to make sure I stay hydrated, stay a little bit healthier. If I fill myself up with enough of this, then I don't find myself craving a Coke or whatever else, because my stomach's just full of water. But for all of you out there that maybe watch this or ever see this, I wish you the best. Wish you the absolute best of whatever you're dealing with, whatever you're going through, whatever you're taking on, whatever challenges you have ahead of you. I hope that you come out the other side the best version of yourself that you can possibly be. I know that the world is full of people that don't actually want to see people succeed. I probably used to be one for several. I mean, I guess like LeBron or somebody like that. I don't think anybody on a personal level, but the world's full of haters, right? Full of negative people and naysayers. So I believe in you. I think you can do whatever you set your mind to. You know, on some David Goggins type stuff, I think that you can absolutely achieve anything in your life, from becoming somebody who invents some sort of program that helps move the world forward, going and being a Navy SEAL or an Army Ranger or whatever you want to be. Stay committed, stick with it, don't ever give up. There's going to be days when you don't believe in yourself. That's alright, because there's people out here like me. And I'll tell you straight up, I know you can do anything you set your mind to. I know that I could take anybody who has just a little bit of drive and a little bit of commitment. They're just looking for their chance. They got a little bit of that dog in them. I know I could take somebody like that, and if they said that, like, hey, I want to work where you work, and I want to be as successful as you and what you do. Like, I know I could work with them and teach them and help guide them to get to where they want to be. I think I could do that with any person out there as long as they had those characteristics. The rest of the stuff I can teach you. The rest of the stuff you can learn on your own. You know, mixture of mentorship and, you know, having to go out there and do the work and learn what you didn't learn before that you needed. Whatever that might look like. But I believe in you. Anything, you can do whatever you want. And I don't know why you wouldn't. Much love. Deuces.